All point of views expressed on ShopTalk 360 are solely the point of views of the individuals and do not represent any company, organization, or group. ShopTalk 360, the industry's dedicated platform for commercial design, construction, and facilities. With more than 25 years building for national retail brands, an award-winning and best-selling author, keynote speaker, industry coach, and event producer, here's our host of ShopTalk 360, Grace Daly.
Hey Shop Talkers, very excited to be here with Mike Doiel with HDR Architecture. Mike, thank you so much for taking a few moments to chat with me.
Thanks for having me.
Now, share with our listeners what HDR Architecture supplies in terms of services to the industry.
So we are an architectural engineering consultancy, and we provide expertise in all areas of healthcare, from planning, design, consulting, to full design and construction administration, all the way through post-occupancy.
Wow, wonderful. So the whole from beginning to end.
Beginning to end.
Very exciting. Now, I was sharing with you earlier when we were chatting that this is my first healthcare conference. Very, very excited about that. And we're standing here at the Design Gallery of HDR. And I love the theme you have going on here, reimagining the patient experience. Maybe you can share with our listeners a little bit about what this is about.
We've been at this for quite a while, and we've been a top healthcare design firm for many, many years. So we've begun to take a more holistic view of the healthcare environment and through the patient's eyes. What do they see? What do they want? And so this whole concept of reimagining the patient care experience takes it from the standpoint of the community, all the way through the patient, the caregiver, and how can we provide the biggest bang for the buck for the healthcare client, but at the end of the day, it's all about the patient and that experience the patient has and why they come back.
Absolutely, and just speeding up their recovery time. Whatever, yes, from post-surgery or sickness or illness, whatever it may be.
All of those attributes of improving the outcomes, of improving the patient's perception of the healthcare environment, and how they perceive the healthcare provider and the brand that healthcare provider brings to its patients.
Very interesting. Now, this is just the first day of this healthcare conference, and I wanted to check with you, what do you feel has been a trend in designing for healthcare facilities?
So in terms of the design, designing the healthcare facility itself, there's a lot more data now that drives projects. Why a project is needed requires a data-driven approach to support the need. So, there's only so much funding to go around. There are always battles for funding, if you will.
Always.
And so it's very imperative that a project be proved in terms of a business case. And so we have backed up and taken a look at it holistically from how does a project originate and how do you provide the necessary ingredients to support that project from a business case, as well as, again, improving that patient experience and the outcomes.
I love what you said earlier about how the project originates. So it's really getting to the core, the cause and the need of that project.
Yes, and there's been quite a sea change going on, and you've heard about Obamacare, but
yes,
the thing that's really driven is a performance-based healthcare versus fee-for-service. So insurance companies are now reimbursing based on outcomes versus fee-for-service. So all of the healthcare institutions around the country have had to change. They've been changing. And just a simple example of that is if a patient is treated and released and they have to be readmitted and it was because of an error, then the provider does not get reimbursed.
Wow.
Yes, so pay for performance is what the real heart of this is all about, and a key component of the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, very interesting. So it's really about the outcome.
Yes. It's all about improving outcomes. One of my clients, in fact, who's here today, one of their bold initiatives, their bold visions, is to have 0 preventable safety errors by 2020.
Wow.
Preventable safety errors, 0. That is a big target. It's a big vision, but necessary because of this pay-to-play mentality and pay-for-performance type of industry that we're moving into with healthcare.
Very, very interesting. So that's a new trend. Now, in order to achieve that, what's the challenge? You mentioned earlier, it's setting the bar so high for that 0 tolerance.
Preventable safety errors.
Yeah.
So the objective then is to stand back and look at how do we plan spaces and design spaces that can contribute to meeting that goal. That's really what it's about. So getting into a very data-driven environment, simulating spaces before they're designed and built, and looking at how that can improve patient flows, patient safety, throughput, all of those things that we know a patient really wants. They don't really want to be in a healthcare environment, right? They have to be.
Yes.
And so I think our mission is to make sure that it happens seamlessly and it happens at the highest degree of professional care possible.
Okay, very interesting. So now, Mike, if you're simulating an environment, then do you actually have the healthcare providers come in, and you also have a patient, someone who's acting as a patient come in and kind of work that?
Yes,
okay.
we do scenarios, we do mock-ups, we do live mock-ups, we do simulations. We will walk through spaces, simulate those with caregivers, with patients, to actually test these areas.
And so then it would affect the overall, I'm thinking and again, this is all very new to me in terms of the physical environment. But as a patient, I have been in the hospital before, and of course I have family members that have been in the hospital before. So I'm thinking from the second they enter into the hospital, whether it's for admitted surgery or whether it's through the ER, all the way throughout the whole process to when they're released, when they're sent home. So you're looking at every aspect of the hospital. Do you think, Mike, that there's one area more impactful and more important than another area?
I think that it's all important, and not just inpatient, by the way, outpatient. As we know, we're moving to an outpatient environment.
Yes.
We're moving to e-visits. So in other words, a patient who has a chronic illness, diabetes, for instance, you can have an e-visit, so you can basically Skype with your patient.
Wow.
So technology has really enhanced the ability to deliver care. I think that's probably one of the highest probably growth areas that I've seen since I've been in the business, is the availability of technology to enhance everything that's done in the environment.
Wow, so in other words, with the outpatient, it's a follow-up through possibly a Skype type of venue.
If it's a chronic patient, who we might call a frequent flyer, someone who comes back, that they can do Skype visits. You can monitor patients from afar. You can do ICU. They do e-visits where they will get a series of specialists who are actually in a location not with the patient, but they can weigh in on the diagnosis and the treatment of that patient. So inpatient, outpatient environments, follow-up care, lots of really neat things are happening as a result of technology.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now to wrap up, in typical ShopTalk 360 fashion, if there was one word, Mike, that you could think of to best describe how you feel about your industry right now, what would that one word be and why? Change. Change.
Yes.
Okay.
The only constant is change.
Is change. All right. Well, ShopTalkers, we are here with Mike Doiel with HDR Architecture. Mike, give a quick shout out to our audience of where they can reach you or your website.
Yes, so I can be reached through HDR Inc. And you can Google me as well. My name will probably come up as an industry expert.
Wonderful. Mike Doiel, and that's spelled D as in David, O-I-E-L. Mike, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. Really love what you have here at the Gallery Design, and I look forward to connecting with you again at a future conference.
Thank you, Grace.
Hey, Shop Talkers, I'm here with Greg Patrick. Very excited to be here in his beautiful booth. Greg Patrick is the president with Rhetoric Technologies, Inc. Hey, Greg, thank you for joining me this morning.
Hi, Grace. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being in my booth.
I love this. And now your booth is, I was playing around a little bit with your booth yesterday. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can share with the listeners what Rhetoric Technology provides.
Well, at Rhetoric Technologies, we respond to the need for good ergonomics in the workplace. And with our company, it's a very specific focus within healthcare and even more specifically for radiologists in the radiology reading room. The radiology profession has gone through a lot of changes in the last 2 decades, and it's become a very sedentary workflow there. Mm-hmm. And the need for good ergonomic solutions has been growing and growing over these last few years as they're experiencing more injuries and problems due to this sedentary workflow. Mm-hmm. So the product that we developed is in response to that, and it's unique in a way. Ergonomics is not a new thing, and sit-stand workstations are not new, and monitor mounts are not new. But in radiology, they use very large monitors and large numbers of monitors. Mm. So the need for adjustability is still there, but being able to adjust that much technology and make it quick and easy to adjust is a bit of a challenge. Mm-hmm. So we found an opportunity about 15 years ago to respond to that need, and we've been developing our product as their workflow has been changing and developing, and their technologies have been developing as well. So in a nutshell, we improve the space that the radiology works in to make it safer, healthier, and more productive for them.
Okay. And that's so important because to your point too, their whole time, most of their day is sitting behind a monitor.
That's right. A radiologist is somewhat of a unique doctor. There's historically there hasn't been very much patient interaction. Their interaction mm-hmm. is mainly with the image.
Yes.
And the image used to be on film and on light boxes, and now it's on computer monitors. So their interaction is really between it's the radiologist and the computer monitors or the computer technology. And it could be anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, and the radiology, and it's a long day, and it's a stressful day, and there's a lot of focus required. Mm-hmm. So the need for them to be in a good space, in a good environment, to allow them to be spending that much time is very important.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the trends you see, Greg, that are going on in the industry in healthcare?
In healthcare, what I'm seeing mainly in imaging and because our focus is imaging, I'll just talk a little bit about that. It's probably one of the most important areas of the hospital, and I mean others might argue with that, but imaging has become the tool by which most diagnoses are made, most patient treatment plans are made, and then when the patient is ready to be discharged, it's usually along with another image. So imaging is used in every aspect of the healthcare continuum from the beginning to the end. So it's that in itself is it's a very important part of the whole patient care model. The trends that I'm seeing in imaging is very interesting right now, because there was a huge trend about 15 to 20 years ago where we changed from film to filmless, and it caused a lot of changes in workflow and technologies and everything. What happened, though, was the radiologists were almost kind of pushed back into the corner a little bit because of the amount of work that they had to do and the availability to do it on computer monitors, and they could do it anywhere. They became a little bit removed from the bigger picture.
Sure.
All the other doctors and the patients, and the radiologists were somewhat removed.
Okay.
A couple of things have happened. The radiologists recognize that this is not a good place to be so far removed, and as well they're being forced to look at another model for reimbursement, meaning instead of getting paid just for reading an image and doing a report and you get a lump sum of money, the push is coming from the top down, the policymakers to say we're going to reimburse you not just on that, but on the value that you bring to the patient care model. And what does that look like? Well, that's still a little bit of a fuzzy picture,
Sure.
but they're trying to get their head a little bit around it, on what does that mean. What they know they have to do is come out of those dark corners from behind the doors and re-engage with their referring clinicians, all the doctors that order the images for their patients.
Absolutely.
That's the radiologist customer. So they have to re-engage and be more of a customer-facing consultant, a consulting physician,
Absolutely.
Engaging with the patients and things like that. So this is causing, this is requiring a lot of change in culture of the radiology group, and the way that they're thinking about their workday, and they're needing to turn towards their customer and patient more than they have had to do in the past couple of decades. At the same time, their workload is not decreasing.
Yep, it's still there.
It's still there.
Yes.
So all the more important for them to have an environment and everything about their environment, from the technologies to the physical space that they work in, that allows them to be as productive as possible, at the same time maintaining their health and not becoming injured in this sedentary work environment, and then have this space conducive to collaboration between the radiologists, collaboration with the referring clinicians, inviting to the referring clinicians who are their customer base, inviting them back into the radiology reading rooms to become this collaborative, cohesive unit. And in some cases, the patient. So the reading rooms now need to be designed, in some cases, especially in women's health and mammography, for a consult with the patient.
Absolutely.
So this is all, that's the big change that's coming that I'm seeing, and it's, for me, it's taking ergonomics far beyond just the adjustability of the desk, which is what we typically think of, chairs and desks. Ergonomics is a much bigger issue, because it's the science of the human being in the workspace and everything that encompasses. So it's in our view, the definition of ergonomics is really expanding into the everything about that environment.
And we chatted a little bit yesterday on this. It appears that here in the U.S., we're just starting to turn a corner with ergonomics. Yeah, it's not fully embraced, maybe, or
correct. It's still a compared to, typically you would see that these technologies and these types of products have come out of the Scandinavian countries and the European countries, who are 1 to 2 decades ahead of us, and in some cases there, it's mandated by law that you have to provide everybody who's sitting in front of a computer the ability to have some adjustment. We still see that in the North American culture, ergonomics, although it is part of the dialogue and it's part of it, it's not always in every case fully accepted as an absolute necessity. It's still looked at as some kind of an afterthought sometimes. Oh, you're injured now? Oh, we better get you something. The trouble with that is that repetitive strain injuries that come from sedentary workflows, it's like an accumulation, a very slow, over a period of time, building up to an injury. And you don't always feel it coming on. But then all of a sudden you're injured, and then it takes a very long time to come back from
that.
Right, as opposed to a broken bone.
Yes.
It's a very quick, acute injury, and then you heal. Ergonomics is something that you don't taste it, feel it, or always smell it, so you're not always aware of what's happening.
It
sneaks up on you, and then it's a long recovery. So yes, it is part of the dialogue. It's part of the culture. We're seeing more of it. It's still not as mandated and as important, as seen as important as I think it needs to be.
Okay, very interesting. Now, Greg, what would be, if you had one word to best describe the industry to you, what would it be and why?
The industry, meaning the industry that I'm working with in imaging?
Yes.
Extreme change, and I guess that's the word that comes to mind, is because it's an evolution. I've seen, and it's been so interesting to be, although I'm not a company that provides any kind of a patient care solution or technological solution, I'm very much alongside of all of those things that are happening, and I've been there for 15 years, so I provide a solution that helps support all of these technologies. And I just can't get over the amount of evolution and change that I've seen happening in healthcare in general and in imaging specifically. It's exponential growth and changes in the technologies that are helping the caregivers to provide their care. It's growing in leaps and bounds, and I see it because I see. Right, that's more than one word, isn't it? Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay.
Yeah, evolution and change.
Evolution and change. Okay, it was a combination of both, and one is synonymous with the other.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A tremendous amount of change and a challenge to keep up with it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us, Greg Patrick with Rhetoric Technologies. Quick shout out for our listeners. Where is maybe a website address they can read up more on?
Yeah, www.rhetoric.technologies, all one word, REDRICK, technologies.com.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Greg.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Grace.
the rest of your conference, and I'll chat with you again soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Shop Talkers. I'm here with my very dear friend that I found. I was so excited to see him here, Joe Fairley with DWM Facilities Maintenance. Hey, Joe.
Hello, Grace. It's great to see you again.
It is great to see you, too. Now, it was so nice to run into you and Allison here, because this is the first time I've come to the show. So I was like, I don't know anyone. And, of course, I see a friendly face like you. Wonderful.
Oh, excellent. Our first time here at the HealthCare Facilities Symposium, if I said that correctly. I'm still learning it.
I'm glad you said it, so I don't have to say it, but yes, you did say it correctly.
No, we are certainly healthcare conscious, and we have a vertical in our company that has been pursuing the healthcare industry now for 2 years. And it was time for us to come and to try to figure out exactly where do healthcare facilities professionals go to get their answers.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, because obviously you cover retail, restaurant, entertainment as well. So coming into healthcare must be a very different perspective. So
yes, I think my badge says it all today. It says runs with scissors because I definitely have taken on this challenge as something just brand new. And I think it's a situation where we don't know what we don't know.
That sounds like me. This is the first time I'm coming into this brand new too. Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're looking for answers and trying to figure out who else is here looking for answers.
Yes. Okay. And just, I mean, being here at your wonderful booth. And by the way, real quick shout out, congratulations on your Inc. 5000 award, your Top Workplace 2016 award, and your Albany Business Review award. You guys have been rocking.
We have 67 employees now at our headquarters that are extremely excited, and they kind of carry this as a badge with them now. They've worked very hard for, the accolades, but they've worked together, and that's really what's created the best place to work.
I like that. Okay, emphasis on together. Okay, so far, Joe, what is your biggest takeaway from this conference?
That the person that I'm going to meet next probably is not a traditional client, but they could be. And I just haven't realized the angle or the approach or the need yet. So I find that we have to ask more questions and be a little bit more probing than we do at a traditional trade show.
Yeah, all part of the whole learning, relationship building process. I love that, and you're the perfect person to do that.
Oh, thanks, Grace. I appreciate that.
Okay, in typical Shop Talk 360 fashion, what is one word that best describes this healthcare industry to you, and why?
Learning. This is a learning environment. This is something where we have to kind of take our expert hats off and admit that we're not the experts and listen to those people around us, hear all new people to us that have a great deal of knowledge, and see what we can learn from them.
I love that. Learning. Perfect. Well, Joe Fairley, always wonderful to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again at a future event.
Thanks, Grace.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks for joining Shop Talk 360. Real conversations in the commercial design, construction, and facilities industry. You can reach out to us at grace@gracedaily.com.